don't want to speak too soon, but this may just be recording, which is nice. So, hello. How have you been? I recently finished barring all the submissions and stuff, recently finished all my work for college, so I thought I'd make a video. I did, and I thought I'd go and spew some nonsense at the internet. I mean, it's the only reasonable thing to do, given the situation. But yeah, gonna have some time to hobby now, which is nice. I managed to sneak a little bit in, while I was doing college work, but I've got a bit of time off, so I'll be able to do some stuff. And what I have been doing is this Dead Zone thing. I'm currently, I don't know if this is official weathering techniques, whether or what, but I'm currently trying to weather these things up by putting a load of what's the name of it? Agrax Earthshade or Army Painter Strong Tone just into the recesses, and then I'm going to go at it with some Typhus Corrosion. So I'm going to also try and make it look like it's been rained on. So yeah. Just for super professionalism, why don't we bring the camera? So much professionalism right now, definitely. Yeah. So this is all the stuff I've got to do. Well, no, actually, that's a lie. That is all the stuff I have to do. But yeah, in preparation, might be moving out a bit. But we'll wait and see. We will wait and see. Right then. Well, I'll now spout some nonsense and show you what on earth I'm doing, if you have any opinions or whatever, and you feel like you want to leave them in the comment section of this video, then go right a bloody head. But I was thinking about making this video a couple of days ago, and it got me thinking. A funny thing that some gaming channels do, and not trying to be nasty to them, they'll come back to making videos and they'll say, "Oh, sorry, I was away," and it just strikes me as an odd thing to say, because unless you've got someone like paying you to make videos via Patreon or whatever, then why would you think that you owed anyone an apology? Again, it's just a funny thing. It's not really directly aimed at anyone or trying to criticize people. It's just one of those odd things that got me, that I just thought about. So, but oh well. Speaking of Patreon and all that stuff, have you noticed that there's that little donate button built into YouTube now? And I wonder, what are the drawbacks to that? Because there must be drawbacks, mustn't they? I mean, YouTube wouldn't just let you get away with, making money. They'd have to, get in on it somehow. Is that better? I think that might just be better, Yes, that's better. So, yeah, I'm thinking, like, if there weren't any drawbacks, then everyone would do it. People wouldn't mess around. They'd just be straight away. Have this donate if you like button. And thing is, I don't know where to go to get more information about it, because to be quite honest with you, if there's no drawbacks to it, then like everyone should be doing it. And I mean, I realize no one's going to pay me for my content, but just on the off chance, someone who's got a couple of million that they don't particularly want, they just want to hand it out. I've given myself the opportunity, haven't I? But yeah, terms and conditions and stuff like that always confuse me. Bamboozle the living daylights out of me. But then that's not difficult. Now, recently, in terms of hobby, well, I've got a huge blob of Tyranids to do. Chief among them, that thingy that Ace Face got me. Because I really want to get some big chunks of my models done, because it's feeling like it's never coming to an end, So if I can get this terrain done, that'll be good. I feel like I've got a huge chunk of it done then, and get these Tyranids done, and yeah, it's always good to feel like you're making progress, isn't it? But yeah, given a second go at these, I don't know if I'd bother undercoating them white. So what I've done is I've undercoated it white, and then I've put some snakebite leather, or bestial brown, Vallejo game colour, for those of you who are interested, or beastie, close enough, whichever one of those. Put that in the recesses, and then sponged over some old shalty bone, so I get a rust effect coming through. I'm thinking about it. I might as well have just covered the whole damn things in that in this brown, because, well, I've got patches of white showing through, and that's all right. I just think it would have looked better. So learn from my mistakes. There you go. And doing these and this weathering, I have gone through an awful lot of this shade. I think I polished off a bottle of Aglax Earthshade, and I'm, well, a quarter to a third the way through this. Yeah. I'm always bad at judging exactly how much paint I need, so I'm hoping that this will last the whole project. But No, after I've done the weathering on these two, then it's just add the perspex sort of for the, well, add the clear plastic for the windows, then add all the garnish as Mel the terrain shooter would call it. You know, add all the plants and all the greeny bits, and so it doesn't sound like there's an awful lot to do. But you know how it is when you've got a project on, you know? You think, oh, I'll get through this, no problem. Easy as. It always takes longer than you think. But then isn't that true of so many things in life? You know? Oh, it's a 5-minute job. Won't take long. Half an hour later, an hour later. Because I used to be a plumber. I enjoyed it a lot. But one of the things about it which was always, I don't know, always made me groan was you'd think you'd have an easy, straightforward job ahead of you. Nothing could go wrong. And then you'd get there, you know, pull back a little bit of a skirting board or unearth a little bit more to this supposedly easy job, and then you'd find that there's a whole other nest of problems just waiting. Right then. So, step one. As you can see, I've defined it more. Yeah. Looks okay, doesn't it? Now, I'm going to try and do, well, runs where you know, weather that make it look dirtier and stuff. But yeah, recently got the Skitarii Codex. Got some boxes of Skitarii, and those models look good. I know this is all old news. You're like, oh, grown, James, come on. Like, everyone's already talked about Skitarii. We know all about that. Move on, pick a different subject. But I have to say, Skitarii are iconic of the. And I will qualify that in a second, but you know, when you're reading all the books, and they always mention Skitarii, and you've never really known what they're like, and Darren Abinet's describing crazy dog things with huge, like, muscly dog things which have gun arms and stuff. You know, it's just it's good to see them finally get some models. You know, because they are, well, to my mind, they are synonymous. Have I said that correctly? With Mechanicus, you know, and those Necromunda players out there, Ashways Nomads, yeah, yeah, and plus there's a few bits. I mean, one of the, I think it's the Lust Stalkers or some kind of Mechanicus infiltrators. They have these little, like, Uzi looking guns, and that would be a cool bit to have, you know, if you're going to convert up some Necromunda stuff. And I really should get back to Necromunda. I've got a load of paint stuff. I mean, I started painting one of my guys, my gang, ages ago. Can you see that? Is it going to focus? No, it's not. Is it? I don't know. Close enough. Well, you get the idea. And you know, got sidetracked. Things happened. You know how it is. So we're gonna have to make a move on that. But yeah, we'll be looking forward to using this scenery. So I don't know how many of you use plastic card, but I got this. It's a balsa stripper, and it is kind of meant for balsa, but I'm hoping it'll also work for Plasticard as well. And basically, you get your material, you get it, you get one of its straight edges. You stick the knife blade in there. You run that down the straight edge, and it'll cut off a strip as straight as you like. So handy little tool to have. I should be having a circle cutter coming soon, which is again nice, handy little tool to have, But I haven't actually had a chance to use that balsa cutter in anger yet, so I'm gonna have to wait and see if it's as good as I hope it is. Now, can you see there's a few runs here and there, and it's just wondering, is less more, how much is too much? But yeah. Now, how does that look? There. You've got the runs coming down. I'm not overly displeased with it, if I do say so myself. I do these things via the Google Hangouts because they're nice and convenient. But I don't really know exactly how to get chat going, because I'm assuming you can do it, with the people who are watching. But just be interesting to know. So if any of you watching this at any point want to help me out and tell me what on earth I'm not doing, then that would be lovely. But yeah, until then I'm just going to proceed, nonsense all the time until we find something interesting to talk about. Well, at least I do. You know what? I might share out this the link to this. I might do. But no, I went for the walk today, which is good. I'm overdue for some fitness, to be honest with you, because I am in a state. Well, let me qualify that. There's nothing physically wrong with me. I'm just overweight, really overweight. So yeah, the start of good habits. It's always good. It's always good. But speaking of starts and stuff, Age of Sigmar coming out. How thoroughly interesting, eh? What I found interesting, and I mean, like lately, well, the rumors started months and months and months ago, didn't they? And as soon as they started, like, people were doing backflips. Oh no, circle bases, it's the end of the world. Pray to your deity. But what I find interesting about it is usually with 40k releases, they'll just release the new codex, and then they'll release the new rule book, and all the rule books that came out before that will eventually get updated, but they'll still be valid. With recent developments, it seems that Games Workshop are completely clearing house of their army books. Now, I will just check this to make sure I'm not spouting total lies to you all, but yeah, let's just double check. Yeah, this product will be removed from sale. Age of Sigmar is coming. So isn't that interesting, eh? They're getting rid of all the army books. So what I'm thinking is, does that mean there's going to be drastic changes to the way people play? Because usually they just write it so you could use the old army books, and they'll just update them along the way, But because originally, and I know rumors, but originally the rumors were saying, you'd be able to play skirmish, you'll be able to play mass hordes of infantry if you want to, and there'll be like 2 different games. But how they plan to do that with getting rid of the books, I don't know. But hey, maybe if these stories of factions being completely redone are true, then maybe that's why. I do hope, I haven't heard anything, but I do hope the models stay, because there's a lot of good models. It would just be such a shame to lose them. There you go. It looks alright, doesn't it? I suppose it'll do. I mean, who's going to notice? Bugger, knocking stuff over. But no, in truth, I'm quite intrigued by this Age of Sigmar. Should be quite interesting, But while we're on the subject of fantasy, I've been playing Skyrim a little bit, and that game has inspired me. Enjoying it a lot. I've currently got like a wood elf type hunter, sneaky bugger, general sneaky guy for my character, and I've kind of been going through it thinking, this would be awesome to make some Skyrim terrain, or in actual fact, it's inspired me, and now I want to get loads of Lord of the Rings, even more Lord of the Rings miniatures, and convert up a little Dovahkiin, and because it would be totally possible, I've also had it in my head recently that I want to try my hand at hello? Okay. I'll see you later, ma'am.
Yeah, and you'll be back tonight, won't you?
Yeah. I'm just recording, ma'am.
Actually.
I will.
Oh, sorry, we're recording.
I am like that. Wave and say hi if you like.
No, it's all right.
Okay. My word. Yeah, I don't know if the fan's been bothering you or whatever, but it's surprisingly hot here, you know? Well, it surprised me anyway. I mean, I'm not usually one for the hot weather, but what on earth was I going on about? Yeah, Lord of the Rings models. Yeah, really inspired, really want to get into them because I played the game a little. Well, I played the game once, and I quite liked it. I still like the models, if I'm honest, but one thing at a time, eh? I've still got this to finish, and already I'm eyeing up what models I'm going to paint next. But isn't that always the way of it, you know? Isn't that just the way? Always planning ahead with these projects of ours. Always thinking, ooh, I wouldn't mind painting that. That would be good. What if I did this? What if I did that? And that's part of the fun of it, really, isn't it? You know? The planning ahead, the getting the inspiration, the ideas. And yeah, I do hope the audio quality is coming on okay, but I suppose it's a little late now when we're this far into the video. It's a little bit late now to be worrying about audio quality and all that nonsense. But oh well. You see, I'm trying to find this stream on YouTube, but maybe it only goes up on YouTube after. I don't know. Apparently, I have 4 people watching. My little window that shows me what's actually being transmitted tells me there's no views, but apparently there is Gamer 600, Adam. There's an Adam, and there's another gent there whose name I don't have a hope in hell of pronouncing. Sorry about that, but you know, it's a word, and I'm bad at words. It's just one of those things, you know. But well, hello to the lot of you. Yeah, I wonder if I can get this up on YouTube. Then maybe I can see if there's any chat. There does not appear to be any chat at all, but that's more likely because I'm not doing something or doing something incorrectly, you know? That's probably what that is. But hey, if there's any chat. Ah. I've got it running in the background. Oops. Oh well. Let's carry on, eh? What on earth was I chatting on about? Well, aside from total nonsense, you know. Oh, I've got a viewer. So I've either got 4 viewers or I've got 1. Google can't seem to make up its mind. It's telling me one place I've got 1, another place I've got 4. But excellent. Excellent. Well, hello viewer, how on earth are you? Hello all viewers even. How on earth are the lot of you? Doing okay, I hope. I do hope. But yeah, I got it into my head that I want to have a try at sculpting. And I know you might be thinking, well, steady on, James, you know? You can't just drop into sculpting. It's not easy. It takes time and practice and stuff, and I appreciate that. It's definitely a skill that needs developing, you know? A skill that needs some care and attention putting into it. But I thought, just for the giggle, I'll set my expectations low. I'll see what I can do. Thought I might make things easier for myself and try and sculpt like an ant type tree thing or a giant or something, you know. I'll probably end up just making a mess, but you know, it's a bit of fun. No idea when I'll get down to it. With a mountain of model, it's always the same though, isn't it? You know, we've got a mountain of models. We make these plans. Don't know when we'll get down to them, but we will. We will at some point. But yeah. If any of you happen to be expert sculptors, or happen to have any knowledge or anything at all, really, if you could, if you want to do me a favor, you could impart your knowledge in the comments. That would be absolutely lovely. Because that's one of the best things about this, the whole wargaming models community is the sharing of information. You know, the improving of skills and the sharing of information. Doop 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 doop. Hmm. I wonder I does. Pardon me. Ah. How interesting. How interesting indeed. I might actually be able to find the YouTube video, meaning that if anyone happens to be commenting, then I can well, then I can interact with them. I do realise at this point that the chances of anyone commenting are remote, but hey, you know, there's nothing like positivity and optimism. Oh, apparently someone has commented. Growley's Lair just stopping to say hi. Weathering's looking good. Like you said, less is more. Well, thank you for popping by. It's appreciated. And yeah, I have a tendency to just go overboard on this stuff. You know, more and more and more until I've gone past the point where it actually starts to look good. You know. I do believe they call that diminishing returns. Hang on. Maybe Growley was that viewer I had. That would be excellent. Excellent. Tell you what, these are going to be a bugger to finish. Well, they're going to be time consuming. But when I do finish them, they are going to look quite good. And that's not in a sense of I'm the greatest painter in the world, because, you know, I'm not here to claim that. And what I mean is more of a, you know, something looks good on the tabletop when you're standing back and it all looks, you know, it all looks cohesive. There's a bloody word, eh? Cohesive. Here I am, just on the internet, coming up with words like cohesive. What the hell? But yeah, on a tabletop type of thing, it's going to look good. Doop-a-doop. Oh, I've got 2 views now, maybe? Or, maybe not. I'm never sure if I should trust Google. And that may sound like a silly thing to say, because of course you should not trust Google. You know, they're one of the richest companies in the world. But yes, like I say, I'm totally not particularly good at Google hanging out or whatever. Well, I hope you guys have got something to paint. Because it's always good when you're not painting alone, isn't it? Eh? These type paint along videos, they seem quite popular lately. So as you can, you know, as you can see, I've jumped right on that bandwagon. But hey, why not, you know? Why on earth not? Yeah, I'm off screen at the moment painting, but that's because it's a fiddly bit. And you know how fiddly bits are. Excellent, excellent. Apparently Kings of War 2 is coming out. I'll make it sound like a sequel. The second edition, you know? I'll be honest, it sounds kind of interesting. They're going to have 3 things. well, they call them officially forest shamblers. They're basically just like an ant, and I prefer to call them tea things. But yeah, looking forward to those models and seeing what they're all like, because I think ants are totally awesome. And seeing Spud Tate do all those videos on his Kings of War, well, you know how it is. You see someone else and you think, ooh, wow, those models look quite good. Maybe I'm just getting caught up in the hype, you know? Wouldn't be the first time. Glowly has just said, still here watching your buddy. I reckon you will do okay with the sculpting after that great job with converting the end. Well, first off, thank you very much. Yeah. Currently, I'm at the stage where I have all the gear but no idea. Yes, and I think, well, yes, that's very generous of you to say, but I think if I can just get a decent maquette made, that will be a victory in itself, you know? I do believe maquette is the technical term for the wireframe that you make, and then you put the putty onto the wireframe to build up the musculature, and then you build up everything else. I think that's how it works. There was a sculptor at the Mantic Open Day in November, and I probably should have asked him a lot more questions, but this is no complaint to the man, but he was very softly spoken, so the conversation was a bit, well, awkward, if I'm honest, you know. I didn't want to have to sit there going, sorry, pardon, can you repeat that, you know? So, but then, you know, that's my problem, isn't it, you know, not his. But tell you what though, if he's there again next time I go, I am going to talk his ear off. But oh. Close the screen down. Don't even know what I'm showing you now. That's what I've been doing. What do you reckon? Bit more? Bit more? Yeah, bit more. Wouldn't hurt, would it? And this is where I ruin it. Just a bit there, and a bit there. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. I'll just put my thumb all over it, you know, smudge exactly what I've just spent my time doing. It's no bother, is it? You know? So, we're meandering round the topics of nonsense, really, and getting there. Martin McNeil. He's having a bit of a Kickstarter. I wish him luck with it, of course, you know, I mean, who wouldn't? And well, last time I checked, he was really close, you know? Really close, so I've kind of got my fingers crossed for him. Because definitely seems like it's a dream of his, you know? And it's always good to achieve your dreams, isn't it? Because, I mean, one time as a child, I had the aspiration to touch a cloud, and that might sound quite odd or I don't know, silly, but you know, as a child, I was like, I couldn't get my head around clouds. Like, what on earth are they? What do they do? Well, not what do they do, but what are they made of? How do they just like float there? Of course, now I know they're water vapor, much like fog. But yeah, my dad took me up Snowdon to do that. And yeah, and then like now, I was overweight and struggled, but you know, I got there. Got there. It wasn't actually a cloudy day. Typical, isn't it? You know, I go all the way up there, no clouds in sight at all. Not even one. So yeah, I settled for fog in the end. It's just like fog. It'll do. Close enough. But I see these there's a lot of channels out there doing an awful lot of really good bat naps. And I'd like to, you know, to do that. It's something I've got on a back burner. A very far back burner. But I do wonder how on earth they light them. Like the gaming table. Because I've seen you can get these studio lamps, which are, you know, I've seen professional photographers use them. They set up on a tripod. They've got a little light diffuser on them, got loads of bulbs, or just one big bloody bulb. And you know, they just have them on. But I'm wondering, is there any other way of doing it which is cheaper? Because they're like £20 a go. So you know that soon, and I mean £20. You can't really expect. Sounds like a fair price, but it mounts up quick, you know. So I'm just curious, really. And again, if you know anything, feel free. I should have said feel free to tell me. But hey, you know. You're right, Glowy. For Glowly says, fog is just cloud that touches the ground. He's 100% correct, and only now with my advanced years do I appreciate that. According to Google, we have a third viewer. Hello, third viewer. How on earth are you? Keeping well, I assume? Well, I hope so. You're just in time for me to go on long and boring rambles about utter nonsense. So yeah, you've got, this is the good part. Well done. You've come at the right time. Just don't ask about the bad part, because well, if that's the good part, you know. Right then. Right then. I'm trying to do it in stages, you know. I did those faces. Now it's just these faces. Maybe I should have renamed this, like, you know, hours of watching James use ink on terrain. Hardly the most interesting stuff, but, well, it's interesting to me. So to hell with it, you know. We've got a third. We dropped down to 2, and now we're back up to 3 viewers. So I don't know if you're the new third viewer or you're the old third viewer, the same third viewer as before. But hello, third viewer. How on earth are you? Yeah, apparently Mantic are going to be doing the pledge manager for their Dead Zone Kickstarter. That's coming out soon, and I think it's the 22nd or something, which should be interesting. I assume you all know what a pledge manager is, but for those of you who don't, it's basically just you pledge through Kickstarter. Mantic then gets your money. Then Mantic set up a little shop, which is the pledge manager, and then you say what you want for your money. But yeah, I really need to get the 2nd edition book for Dead Zone when it is eventually released, because I can't be really bothered with playing it or learning the rules off by heart, knowing that there's a book so close, you know, coming around the corner. And if I'm honest with you, I think Dead Zone needs it. Huh? Dead Zone needs a bit of a jolt with the rules. But I've gone over this, you know. I'm sure I've gone over it in past videos. I've ranted and raved about how the cube system can be exploited, and how it's bloody cumbersome apart in times, you know. I'll wait and see what the new edition's like, but in honesty, I think I'll be just playing with a measurement, you know. A move action moves your guys 3 inches, then action moves them 6, you know. Or whether it should be a move action moves them 6 and then a further 3. Well, actually, you lot can bloody help me with that. Mantic Dead Zone's done to a 3-inch cube system to fit around this terrain, so 3 inches. And your guy, say this was one of the squares, can move like that from one square to the other in one of his move actions. Now, obviously, the minimum distance he's moving there, from there to there, could be 3 inches. The maximum from there to there, it would be just far. You're seeing what I'm seeing there, just shy of 6. So I'm wondering if you do you know, change the rules to use a measured system, go for the 3 inches or the 6 inches. And this is important stuff because, you know, as we all know, every inch counts. Oh dear. I'm a terrible person. apparently, Jerry is full of the joys of spring, which is good. He's quite a joyous man. Any time, really. But if he's full of the joys of spring, well, he must be super joyous, which is always good. Always good. I know it's a bit of a British thing. Or, I say that like I'm going to have anyone from outside of Britain watching this, but although I suppose technically the Republic of Ireland is outside of Britain, so maybe I spoke a little bit too soon there. But yes, it's currently good weather around here, and I decided to spend that good weather inside painting terrain and talking to a webcam and sometimes interacting with other humans on the internet, which is time well spent, in my opinion. Time very well spent. Ah, Jelly's comment's gone. I have no idea why. I'm sad now. I didn't mean any harm. Jelly, come back. I think I get it. I've only just twigged to this now. I mean, how bloody dense do you get? But Jelly stated he's full of the joys of spring because I said, hello, third viewer, how on earth are you? He's full of the joys of spring, of course. Well done, James. Oh, my word. Right then, I'm going to have to put the fan on. It's boiling in here. Jelly, are you celebrating by any chance? Oh, we've got 4 viewers. 4 viewers! Wow! I'm getting a little bit too excited there. But no. Oh, 3 views. It couldn't last, you know. All good things must come to an end. At least I can say in my heart of hearts, for the minute there, or for the second, I did have 4 views. And that down to 2. Don't even know why I'm keeping track of the viewers. I guess it's just nice to know that people are watching, really. It certainly is. It's good to be interacting with the comments. That's good. I like that because it's human interaction. It's part of this. You could quite easily argue it's one of the cornerstones of this hobby. But that's the thing with YouTube. Now, I don't know what your opinion is, but it's very, very easy to get hung up on numbers, like subscriber numbers and view counts and all this. So easy to get wrapped up in that stuff. And I find myself doing it an awful lot, I'll be like, oh no, I've lost a few subscribers, or yay, I've gained a few. And really, in the long run, does it matter? Because I mean, they'll only subscribe if they deem something useful, if they glean something useful from this channel, or they get something, and that's fair enough. That's the way, you know, YouTube works. People will go and watch what they get use out of, you know. Can't even remember where I was going with this rambling nonsense of a point, but you know. But then, if you're watching this, you didn't come here for coherent, you know, well thought out and concise observations. Well, at least if that's what you did come for, you are going to be massively disappointed. Massively. But yeah. But yeah, you know. I'm looking forward to the new Jurassic Park film. I think it's going to be very, very silly, but also kind of one of those films. If you don't take it too seriously, you know, you're fine. You can get some fun out of it. But yeah, I'm secretly hoping that there's going to be some huge action scene with the T-Rex fighting off a load of other dinosaurs. I mean, come to think of it, it's Jurassic Park. It's kind of likely that that's probably going to happen. Kind of, probably. But yeah. And actually, there's a thought. If they're bringing out a new Jurassic Park film, follow with me now. There's going to be Jurassic Park toys, which means dinosaur toys. And if there's dinosaur toys, then they might just be, one, good enough quality to use with the models, and two, the right scale. Now there's an interesting thought, eh? Like I needed more things to spend my money on. Fair dues. Madness. Total madness. But yeah, now I've got some time off, I might be doing more of these videos, because I do realize, like, you know, a stream every once in a while is, you know, a novelty, kind of nice. One every day is kind of just like, meh. For some people, they're just, you know, not bothered with it, and that's fair enough. And I think that's, you know, I think me streaming nonsense like this every day will get tiresome. But I think I will do some more videos on it. One, so I can get some videos on my channel, because, well, there hasn't been an awful lot. Two, and this is the main one, so I can motivate myself to get through this stuff. Because if I'm doing this and I've got the camera recording at the same time, then in theory I'm going to be more productive. You know, I'm going to be getting down to it, not messing around. Well, I say not messing around. I spend most of my time messing the living daylights out of things, but you know what I mean. Because yeah, I would really like to get this stuff finished and get those NIDs finished. Actually, speaking of NIDs, I bit the bullet and got myself a hide tie then. Now I've left his head separate so I can paint it, but yeah, I've even gone against the meta, and I've made him fully close combat orientated. I know. It's unthinkable, really, isn't it? But yeah, like that's a model I really want to make a good job of. You know. So these streams will certainly help with that. Streams. Listen to me using internet lingo, like I know what I'm talking about. Oh, Jenna's asked me, what do I can? They look all right. I don't know. They certainly wouldn't. You know, like sometimes there's models, and you see that, and it's like that is the model. That is the coolest model. I'm collecting that faction for that model. The shredders aren't that, for my taste, anyway. You know, they're just like big rats. I mean, you know how it is. Models always look different in person and with a paint job on. So that opinion may change. I may see them and be like, "Oh my god, these are the coolest models ever. I've got to have 8 of them. I want 8." You know, because that's how I get with models. But yeah, it's promising. It's good, because there was a while there, like I was wondering, like, have a Mantic actually still? All right, goalie apparently has to go. Thank you very much for watching, Glowy. And I do hope you have a very good rest of the day. Although that comment was made 10 minutes ago, so you've probably already gone. Yeah. All right, apparently, Jerry is celebrating the day ending, and he is also working on Dead Zone Terrain. So, internet high five for Dead Zone Terrain. Oh my word! It's a good job. It's a good job no one comes here for sense or maturity or anything like that, isn't it? Actually, you know what? Here's a bloody thought. Here's a thought. I wonder if I can't send. Oh, apparently we have Lou Fox watching too. For those of you who don't know, he runs the channel 40k Warpaint, and he is an absolute gent. So so yeah, very nice to see you. Well, not to see you, but what's the word? Very nice to know that you're there, Lou. But you know what? Here's a bloody idea. Why don't I put the link to this nonsense somewhere so that people can join the hangout. Does that sound good? It's just where to bloody put it now. That's all I'm thinking. I will try and share it through Google Plus, although, you know, if I do that, who knows what could happen. It is Google Plus after all. Anything could go wrong. No. What on earth? Oh well, I'll figure that out in a minute, you know? Yeah. I'll figure that out. Oh no, wait, hang on. Steady on now. We might just have something to do. Oh mate, oh we do. Excellent. This is and let's try again. Okay, so in theory, I've just shared the link out to both Jerry and Lou. So in theory, they have the option of joining if they want to. It's always good to have options, isn't it? That's the one thing, you know? Money helps, you know? Money isn't the be-all and end-all. It won't make you happy, but it helps. And the reason it helps is because it gives you options. Just like education. Education gives you options. I don't know why I just imparted that nonsense to you, but then again, have I ever needed a reason to impart nonsense? Go around indiscriminately, you know, talking nonsense and just generally wasting people's times. And if I'm honest with you, I don't really feel that bad about it. Maybe I should do, but I don't.
Hello.
I don't.
Are we working?
Ooh, it turns out we have a jelly.
You do.
We've got jelly here, which is excellent.
Well, you have me for a little while.
A little bit quiet. Oh no, wait, hang on.
Let me see if I can.
I don't really feel that bad about it. Maybe I should do that. Right then. Hello, Jelly. Are you okay?
Hello.
Excellent. Right then. It's all working. And I can hear you.
That's good, because I have absolutely no idea how to adjust anything in this.
Well, I would say, Jelly, don't change. You're perfect as you are, you know?
Well, this is true. I keep telling people this, they don't believe me though.
Well, you carry on telling them, you know? Eventually you'll get through to him. It's gotta happen. I mean,
yeah, here's hoping.
So I'm thoroughly fascinated to hear about your Dead Zone today.
Well, I'm only just starting to build it. I've had it since the Kickstarter first came out. How long ago? 2 years? A year and a half, whatever it was.
2 years sounds about right.
2 years, yeah. I finally made space in the schedule to actually get a game in. So the plan is my little group, which is me and a couple of friends, we meet up every Saturday or every other Saturday whenever we can. And and last week I inflicted D-Day on them, Flames of War.
Oh, yeah?
I got soundly thrashed. I spent about a week prepping and making all the additional terrain and models for it, and bunkers and pillboxes and barbed wire. And it was all over in 3 turns. I got absolutely annihilated. It was horrendous. So, so this week I've decided Dead Zone's the way to go. So I've dug out the Forge Fathers and the Enforcers, assembled those, and now I'm assembling the terrain to go with. So I have the basic setup from the Kickstarter plus the Ruined set, and the fortified set, which is essentially the bunker and the defense line with the gun. I have that as well. So
you've got quite a bit ahead of you then.
Yeah. I spent too long cleaning up every single square and now I'm just going through and putting them together. I say putting them together. First thing I'm doing is filing down every one of the connector slots. But as long as I have something that we can play across tomorrow, that should be good enough.
Yeah, you see, it's good terrain, but it does take an awful lot of prep work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have Mars attacks as well, so once this is done, I've got to do it all over again for Mars attacks.
Mars attacks isn't so bad. It's a lot quicker, but I've got all this still yet to do.
Nice.
You know, in honesty, I'm saving it for when because I'm probably going to get some from the Kickstarter, so the newest one. So I'm saving it, and then I'm going to have a huge pile to just make stuff with.
See, I'm going the other way. I'm thinking if I get another Kickstarter's worth of stuff, I'll freak out. So I need to build something first because I've Kings of War coming.
Ooh.
And then I've got the last shipment of Dreadball series or season 5 and 6 coming, and then what was the Dungeon Saga? I have Dungeon Saga coming as well, so I need to try and make a dent in the Mantic backlog somehow, because I'm still looking at 3-4 Kings of War armies, and I'm due to get another 4 from this last Kickstarter.
Wow. Okay.
So I just
And that's the thing, though. There's always a backlog, isn't there? Always.
Especially with Ronnie, he's pretty much taking all my money off me. He used to do this when he was my boss in GW, and now he's doing the same at Mantic. So,
you know, he's got no consideration for your poor wallet, has he?
He really doesn't, and I've said this to him before in the past. And weirdly enough, he responded to that as well. I can't remember. It must have been on a Mantic YouTube video. I got a little response from Ronnie himself, not one of the actual, Mantic guys. It was just Ronnie. It was Ronnie's own personal account, just chuckling away at me. Well, that's very decent of you, Ronnie. Thanks for that.
Well, fair dues to him. But yeah, it's almost as if he's doing it deliberately. He wants all of your money.
It does seem to be how he's going these days. I think I'm currently funding his children through college.
Yeah, I can imagine it. Mantic's business plan: take all of Jer's money.
It's a plan that's worked for multiple games companies over the years. Held Games Workshop in good stead for a long, long time.
You popped them up there.
Yeah, well, during those dark days when Mark Wells was their CEO and they didn't really know what was going on, it was mostly my money going into Games Workshop Belfast every week that was keeping them afloat.
They don't know how lucky they were to have you.
Well, they know this. I've told them this in the past. Certainly Games Workshop Belfast was lucky to have me. Company as a whole, maybe less so, but yeah.
I refuse to believe it. So you've got the new Kings of War stuff coming?
Yep.
Well, that sounds absolutely fascinating. Would you mind telling me a little bit about that?
No, not at all. I don't know if have you had the chance to play the original Kings of War game, or
Well, what's happened is never really was never really bothered about it. But then this whole tree shamblers, tree things
Yes.
came along, and I was like, "Ooh, I must have them," because they're like Ents, and I like Ents. So now and seeing all Spud Tate's Kings of War videos now, it's kind of whetted my appetite, as it were. So
Yeah, they're from the Forces of Nature army, which I'm thankful to say, the way I've picked my armies from the Kickstarter, they're going to be coming in waves. So in July, August, the second edition game comes, and with that will come the Abyssal Dwarves, which are a current range.
are they the ones that have the stone golems?
Yes, the Obsidian Gauntlet. I have a few of them from the original Kickstarter beside me at the moment. They're going to be the first on the bat, and then I have the Abyssal, which is the Demon Army. That'll be shipping in sort of October, November time. And they're Kickstarter funded, entirely new sculpts. So that'll be a totally new army that up until now you haven't had in Kings of War. And then the Nature Army, which has the Shamblers, the Ents, that sort of thing, are due to ship early next year. So they're a little bit away, but it means at least I'm not having everything landing at once, which is normally what happens.
Yeah.
But I really like the first edition Kings of War rules. The second edition has cleaned up the army lists. A few minor tweaks to the actual game itself, but the game didn't really need a huge amount of fixing. There were just a couple of issues. Alessio was very fond of true line of sight, and anybody who owns any sort of terrain, there's true line of sight doesn't really work for miniatures because it's too big an abstraction. It works for something like Dead Zone, where it's more or less a board game, tabletop game hybrid, but in a large tabletop game, board game like Kings of War, you can see them because you can see through that forest. You can't build a forest to accurately represent a forest on a tabletop. It's going to be 3 or 4 trees as opposed to a massive, thick forested area with all the bushes and everything else between it. So there's always going to be that line of sight. So
whole table.
Yeah. So they've gone back and abstracted the terrain more. So you've got true line of sights. I'm not going to say it's completely out the window, but it's more like sort of Warhammer 5th, where you have levels. So a hill can see over, everything's stages. So an infantry would be level 1. So an infantryman will block an infantryman. A cavalryman would be level 2. So cavalry would block other cavalry but can see over infantry. And then hills are level 1 or level 2 if they're 2-step, and so on. So if you're on a hill, you can see over cavalry. If you're on a flat ground, you can't, and that sort of thing. So that's the main sort of just rules wise, and then a few other little tweaks. But in the main, it's staying pretty much as was. But sorry
to interrupt you. With the terrain,
yeah,
there's a game called Mercs by Megacon Games. I think that's what they're called.
Mm-hmm.
That does a similar sort of thing for playing on 2-dimensional card terrain. And when I read that rule book, it sounded as confusing as, all hell, really. I mean, is it easy enough to keep track of this height and stuff in terrain in Kings of War, or?
Yeah, it's fairly standard. You've got, I think it's only 3 levels, so forests pretty much trump everything. And it's just a case of working out where you are. So flat ground would be 0, a man would be 1, cavalry is 2, monsters are more or less 2 monstrous infantry would be 2, and then monsters would be 3. So it's just going, right, well, that's infantry, it can't see past that infantry. this infantry are on a hill, so it can see past those infantry, but can't see past the cavalry. It's because you're only ever dealing with 3 levels. It's fairly simple to deal with.
All right. Apparently, Mike Scott from Pink Eyed Painting says hello, and hello back. How on earth are you? Keeping well, I hope.
Hello.
He's yes, he's viewing the living daylights out of us at some. Or at least he has been at some point.
It's very decent. Oh, back in 2 ticks.
Oh, you go.
Talk amongst yourself.
Believe it or not, I think I just might. I think I might just might just. But a bloody interesting, huh? Kings of War. Because I'm like, at the moment in my sort of thing, I've kind of got, like I've been saying, I've kind of got the bug for Lord of the Rings, and I'm looking at some getting maybe some of the dryads and the tree things and the ents and stuff, because they're just bloody cool, in my humble opinion, anyway. So that's sort of despite this, I'm sort of taking it easy with the sci-fi at the moment. I mean, I should be taking it easy with the models and not buying stuff, but we both know that isn't going to happen. But yeah, sounds interesting. My brother tried Kings of War at the Mantic Open Day way back in November. He said it was quite good, and my brother isn't really a gamer. He only went to that because I dragged him along. He has a passing interest. He'll play a few games and stuff, but he actually seemed kind of taken by it. So, oh, hello, you're back.
I am. I'm like a whippet. I move at the speed of light.
Well, me, myself, and I were just conversating about Kings of War and how it's. He even managed to catch my brother's eye, and he's not particularly a gamer. So,
well, that's nice. I think the main difference is how they've balanced the armies for this edition, because they're very much aiming for a tournament game. I mean, GW. I've been playing GW games for 30 years, and they're a lot of things, but balanced they are not. As anybody who's gone to any tournament will know. So
if H-Space were here, he would be screaming Eldar Wraith Knights from the bloody.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're not the worst by far at the moment. The current meta has completely broken because they're releasing so many things so quickly, for 40k especially. I think the ITC, possibly the ETC as well, but certainly the ITC took the formations out after the Eldar Codex, Craftworld Eldar came out. They went, yeah, formations, they're totally broken, can't have those. And then they released Adeptus Mechanicum and Scrati. And they went, yeah, these don't really function unless they have those, so we have to put formations back in, at which point the Eldar Craftworld has become overpowered again. It's just a nightmare for anybody who wants to try and do anything vaguely tournament-based.
I don't envy the job that those people must have trying to sort out and roughly bring about balance to this system. They have got a monolithic task in front of them.
It's not a good thing. So with second edition Kings, they've actually had, between the Pathfinders and a few other people, like the UK Clash of Kings tournament winner. He goes by Dark Lord on the forum. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they got involved in a rules committee where they went in and they essentially went, right, what do we need to do to balance the army lists? Because you could get things like werewolf spam in the undead list, or stone throwers and rock lobbers and screaming skull catapults, or whatever they have, balefire they're called in Kings of War. All of these indirect fire weapons were ridiculously overpowered, and you could field dozens of the little things. So a lot of work came in, not just from Alessio. It was the rules committee, who were mostly just gamers, discussing, working, playtesting and tweaking these, and then they went back and went, this is what we found, this is what. what works and what doesn't work. And then Alessio went through with them, well, we can change this, or I can see why you want to change that, but if you change that, it will break that. It was a whole community-driven rule set, essentially. And that's leveled it out a lot more. So it's getting back to what Ronnie wanted for Kings of War, which is big armies on the battlefield. He doesn't want 4 or 5 tiny little units of overpowered brokenness charging about. He wants to see huge blocks. So the way it goes now is when you're building your army, if you've got a regiment, which is a unit of 25 by 4, sort of deep would be the standard GW equivalent, that's a regiment. Before, you could have your regiment and you would be allowed to take a war machine, a monster, and a hero from that. Now they've gone, right, well, if you take a regiment, you can pick one of those. So you can't have all 3, but you can have one. So you can have a monster or a war machine. If you take a horde,
okay, go on,
which is twice the size, you can take one of each. And then the smaller units, which are troops, which would be 5 by 2, so sort of 10-man blocks, you can only have up to 2 of those for every regiment, or up to 4 of those for every horde. So you don't get these spams of small, useless units that will just run forward as speed bumps to just slow you down while you get shelled to death by war machines. You need to have the core of your army to be big blocks, hordes of infantry or regiments of infantry pushing forward. Apparently there's one bigger again, which is a legion, which I think is twice the size of a horde. I'm interested to see what that is or how that works.
Sounds interesting. I mean,
yeah, it's all about big armies on the field, so it works for me because I've always been a fan of massive units.
so if I want like 3 things, I'm going to need at least 3 regiments.
Yes.
And they're the middle-sized groups, right?
Yeah, assuming that the Shamblers count as monsters. They might count as something like a monstrous infantry, in which case you could get away with having groups of those. You could have, because a regiment for monstrous infantry, which are ogre-sized, sort of 40 square bases, regiments are 3 by 1, and hordes are, I want to say 6 by 2, but I can't quite remember off the top of my head. So an ogre army, you've still got your blocks, but you don't need to have the regiments because your ogres are the regiments. It could be that for nature, the Shamblers are the same. I know a lot of the nature is made up of salamanders, which are like lizard men, and I want to say Naimads, something like that, fishmen essentially. Which Ronnie's been going on about fishmen since he was in GW. It was a constant joke, and now he's actually got fishmen, which come with either with tridents and nets, or with wrist-mounted crossbows.
Well, the fishmen sound interesting, but to be quite honest with you,
look lovely.
If I can field an army of all 3 things, then you can believe that I will field an army.
Well,
of 3 things.
It's the way to go. And the way Kings of War set up, there's no reason why you couldn't. And if it turns out that the nature army doesn't allow you to field an army of Shamblers, you could just go, well, these are ogres, and use the ogre list to build your army and just use the Shambler models.
Bloody good thinking.
I like it. I really like the ogre army, to be fair, though. I'm looking forward to getting my Braves and Warlocks for them.
So, I take it you've pretty much got every army going.
I'm not far off it. I have ogres, undead, dwarves currently, plus Basilean, which are the sort of paladin-based humans, although they're still sitting in the box, need to be assembled. And then I'll have abyssal dwarves, nature, and the abyssals in the future. So I don't have every army, but I've got a good chunk. I don't have orcs and goblins, for example, although I do have some of the goblins in the ogres have goblin contingents. They have what they call red goblins. They just essentially either slap red paint on or dress in red cloth so they know who not to hit. So I've got a couple of big packs of goblin mob beasts.
Because the goblins do look good.
I do like them. They're very Brian Froud. He did the Goblin designs for Labyrinth way back in the day, the film, and they've got that look, the very sort of sharp featured, and they're a lot of fun as well, especially the Fleabag riders on the Maw Beasts, massive mouthed creatures that they are. I like those just to channel the opponent onto my ogres, to give my ogres then something to club to death. Because, you know, it's good to have a plan.
It is. What's your favourite so far then? Your favourite faction?
I think it's ogres. Partly because of how they play and partly because of the miniatures.
The miniatures are good.
The miniatures are stunning. The miniatures were sculpted by a French sculptor, Remy, who used to work for Rackham and did a lot of confrontation stuff, and I have a massive amount of confrontation miniatures.
People keep mentioning Rackham and confrontation. I'm like, saying how good they are.
They were, you know, the way Games Workshop called themselves the best miniature company in the world. It's part of their actual, you know, it's part of their manifesto. If you look at their the company policy, it is, we produce the best miniatures in the world. It's an interesting policy to have. It's not true when it comes to fantasy miniatures. Rackham released the best fantasy miniatures I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen and own quite a few of them. Unfortunately, then Rackham decided to go to pre-painted plastics about 10 years too soon. So when other people weren't doing pre-painted, they tried to do it, and they went from having these beautifully sculpted things to having adequately sculpted. I mean, the sculpts were more or less the same, but the production in plastic wasn't as good. It lost some of the detail, and then the paint jobs were just woeful. And they pretty much sunk their company overnight.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, they had a sci-fi version called AT-43, which had some great things in it, the Thermians and their alien race, and then the Carmines, big space yetis in domed helmets and almost tower-like vehicles. They looked fantastic, but they shot themselves in the foot, and they sunk without a trace.
That's such a shame.
It really is. Thankfully, I have a ton of stuff because I've always had more money than sense. But whenever I seen the ogres, the armor on the ogres and the sculpts were just so reminiscent of the Celt Fina faction from Rackham. And then I looked at it, and it turned out it was the same designer and sculptor. So it was like, yeah, I'm going to have those. And for what are essentially one-piece bodies with 3 or 4 different head types that you could slap on, and then the arms are separate. So it's very simple, very quick army to build. But the ogres just look 10 times better than GW's fat Arabs with their little curly-toed shoes, which just, as much as I like and I originally got the ogres to use for Warhammer Fantasy, because GW's ogres are woeful. It's like they just didn't have a clue what they were up to and went, we need some fat Arabs.
Well, I have to say, it's nice that you know, that guy's legacy sort of still lives on in another gaming company. But yeah, it has to be said, they're really good, those Mantic ogres. And also, for anyone who plays Necromunda and wants a scabby, is it Scabby gang?
Scavies, yep.
Yeah. I was going to say scavies or scallies, but no, the ogres.
Scalies were the heavies.
Scalies, they're the ones. The ogres are perfect for the scalies because you can buy, because one set of ogres comes with a blunderbuss, the other comes with a type of
crossbow with the big spear underneath. Yeah, which is perfect because the scalies did have either a blunderbuss or a crossbow.
Yeah, I know. Perfect. So I've got 2 of them waiting when I make my scaly gang, my scabby gang. I'm going to have a scabby king and make him a little crown. But yeah, thoroughly looking forward to that. But so if that's Kings of War, then
What on earth is happening with Dungeon Saga?
Well, Dungeon Saga, I think, is due to
Don't
launch
Me asking. I know.
August, September, I think, for Dungeon Saga, and it is the same universe, so the world of Mantica, except it's a dungeon crawl. So it's like Warhammer Quest or Hero Quest or whatever it happens to be. You've got your group of heroes going in, and you've got your scenarios. So you lay down the tiles for your dungeon as you go, and you play through various scenarios. Now, at present, it is set up that I think, because of the Kickstarter, there's going to be Dungeon Saga, and then I want to say 2, but possibly 3 expansions. And each expansion will have something. So the original one is going to be your heroes against undead. And then there is each of the expansions will contain a different set of bad guys to fight. So there's a abyssal one full of demons with, it'll have floor tiles and the new scenarios in it for those. There's an orc and goblin one. And there's one with a dragon, the Tyrant of Halpi. I can't remember if he's part of one of the others or if he's a separate one. But that plastic dragon is due to be used for quite a few Mantic Kings of War armies as well.
Well, to be honest with you,
they've got the sculpt, and then they're just going to change, heads and stuff.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I've looked at Mantic's current dragon model, and it doesn't exactly fill you with hope. It doesn't fill you with confidence. It's just like, that's a bit not particularly good at all.
It reminds me of what GW were doing probably early 90s.
Yeah, you're right. It is. So.
It's that style. Now, the new one, and there are already pictures up of him painted, the Tyrant. He's a massive chunk of plastic and looks really, really nice. Certainly as a boss, an end boss for a dungeon crawl game. Now, they have put a video up recently that had the Abyssal army set out, and while it was mostly the Kings of War Abyssals, they actually had some of the Dungeon Saga Abyssal heroes, for want of a better word, painted in amongst them, so they're perfect scale. And they're planning on doing a campaign later this year for Kings of War that will tie in between Dungeon Saga and Kings of War, and people will be able to feed the results back for any of the games they're playing, and they're planning on going, right, well, that will change the face of the world, or if dwarves get a load of results coming their way, then it will push the dwarf empire out, because in Mantica the dwarves are not a dying race. When shit started going badly for the humans, the dwarves just shut all the doors on their underground homes, and then when they opened them up again, the humans had sort of fractured and were pretty much destroyed, whereas the dwarf empire is massive, and it's like, yep, we're doing fine here. In fact, all of this land, it's all ours, and all this land above us, it's ours too. And you're not going to stop us because we have armies, and you're living in a mud hut now. So, so dwarves are good for a certain value of good. But Ronnie was saying, because they've got three overarching designs behind the army. So you've got the forces of good, the forces of chaos or evil, whatever way you want to put it. So you've got the Abyssals and the Abyssal Dwarves and the Twilight King, and then on the other side you've got the Basileans and the Dwarves, and then in the middle you have a third neutral faction, which is nature, and nature's capricious. They aren't good, they aren't evil, they just are. So people stumbling into a forest full of Ents and cutting down trees will all of a sudden find themselves getting pummeled to death, but that's not because the Ents are bad, it's because it's nature, and you shouldn't go cutting logs where you don't know what you're cutting into. So the good guys will feed back the results for the good guys, the bad guys will feed back the results for the bad guys, and the neutral faction in the middle, they can feed back their results for either faction. So you'll find that some nature will be going, oh, well, this is the way we're going to go here, and this is the way, or maybe somebody else will go with pretty much an identical army. They're going to go, no, I want to go bad. So,
isn't that sort of open for abuse though? You get one player who really wants his faction to win, so he goes online and he registers 100 win results for Basileia, or
well, these things always are, but it's.
But then I suppose there's no real way to get around that, is there?
Not particularly, but it's nice to see the community involvement.
Yeah.
Funny enough, Ronnie did these type of things when he was at GW, but it never had any impact. I remember when Storm of Chaos came out, they were saying this will change the Warhammer world, and at the end of it, nothing was changed. Everything stayed exactly the same. And then they had the 13th Crusade, blasting out and destroying Caliban and roaring through the 40k universe. And they went, when this is finished, this will change the world. And if these worlds are wiped out, then they're wiped out, and we'll bloody blah. If the Ultramarine home world goes away or gets eaten by Tyranids, then it'll all change. And then after all the results went in, nothing changed. And they'd done this constantly in the past, ever since I think Ekar 4, the Tyranid invasion back in the early 90s. I think it was 93, 94. They've always had these big, they stopped doing them, but they used to have these massive campaigns that were meant to be story driven and community driven. And then GW just pulled back at the end and went, no, everything stays the same. So it got to be the point, why are you feeding results in? Because nothing changes. It doesn't have an impact. Whereas with Ronnie's idea for Kings is that it will have an impact, and if the Abyssals come off massively, then there's a single rift at the moment where the Abyssals come spilling out of. If things go very well for them, that'll either maybe open a second rift or will expand the current rift through larger territory and that sort of thing. So it'll be nice to see how it evolves, because with Kings of War, we're currently at sort of year zero. Warhammer and 40k have been going for 30 odd years. We're currently sitting where they were in 85, 86, but with the option of being able to change the direction that the histories take. Whereas with Warhammer, it was, and with 40k, it was, here's the initial starting story, and this stays the same. So it's always been the year, 3999 and 40,000. It's always been the year, I want to say 2400 in the imperial calendar, whatever it was. And they've never altered that. They've just added a bit more detail, or a bit more. They've gone back and they've changed stuff. They've retconned the living Jesus out of things, but it's always been very stagnant up until the point they destroyed Warhammer last year, which possibly is too far in the opposite direction. But here we have a chance to build the history as a community. People going forward will be able to go, right, well, were you there when the second rift opened up, or were you there when the Abyssals got the living Jesus knocked out of them? And it's nice that from such an early point, we're going to be able to shift the focus and to drive the story forward, rather than have just something stagnate for 20 or 30 years. Actually build from the get-go and make it more community orientated. So
yeah, I think that could come off really well. I mean, I am kind of looking forward to Dungeon Saga, mainly because there's a tree thing in that, and that's what I've ordered. So
yes, I think it's a druid.
That's probably it. Yeah, I don't know what it does or anything, but it's just like, oh, it looks like an ant.
Yeah, little baby ant. Like I think that one's more dryad sized, so a little bit bigger, somewhere in between dryad and tree man, I think.
Well, it's going to be good, and all those old like 1990s tree men I own, they are going to be very useful.
Oh God, yeah. It's always
The very first Durthu, that one.
yes. With this massive arm. I used to use
His massive arm is just out here for no reason at all.
I
It's
used
just
to
like, what up?
have a converted giant, one of the Marauder giants, that used his arm. He was meant to have a tree as a club, and I just cut off a Durthu arm, so the hand is just. It looks like he's ripped off his arm. The hand was just below his wrist, so it looked like he just ripped off Durthu's arm and was using it to beat him to death with the blunt end of it.
You bad man. You bad man.
I'll do something to amuse myself.
And
Just
stuff like
wondering.
that, you can wind your friends up with it, can't you? You can have a bit of a joke.
Oh yes, very much so. Undead Army is painted up in the color scheme of my friend's Empire Army. Because if you're gonna kill something, that's the way to do it. I feel.
Yeah, that is actually quite a good idea, really. I mean, there's lots of story in that, isn't there, for you mates? So.
Just wondering if there was an awful lot of the Dungeon Saga miniatures were shown off at the open day. I can't remember whether or not the Tree Man had been done. I want to say it is, but not sure. Oh, there's the dragon.
Well,
no, can't find him. I dare say I'll find it when I'm not looking for it later. It'll be lurking around somewhere. Yeah.
I mean, always the way. But I do half wonder if Mantic will actually ever do anything with the Project Pandora. Probably not, I think.
I think it may go the same way as Dungeon Saga in the future. Dungeon Saga was... Jake Thornton did a couple of great interviews where he was essentially saying what happened was he discovered Ronnie was starting Mantic, and he went round to see him and pitch him I've got this great idea for a rule set. And Ronnie went, yeah, I've already got Alessio making a rule set for me. I was like, well, I could do something else. And Ronnie went, right, well, pitch me some ideas. So Jake went off and came back with a few ideas and went, well, look, you've already got these miniatures. You've got the dwarves. You've got the undead. We could do Dwarf King's Hold. And it was just repurposing current miniatures. So nothing new had to be done except for the actual box and tiles. And I went, well, it's a very quick board game. And it was from that Dungeon Saga appeared. It was incredibly popular, and Pandora was something similar. It was like, you've already got these. You've got the I can't remember the name of not the Enforcers, Corporation. You've already got the Corporation and the Marauder Orcs. We could do this, or the Vermin, actually, it wasn't that. So I think possibly down the line we could see something like a Dungeon Saga appear for Warpath, where they go back and go, right, well, Pandora was good fun, but it was only a very small game, and they'll expand on it. And I hope they do. I mean, if Dungeon Saga is anything to go by, then that could prove very good.
Yeah,
it's just a way off.
Then they've got it competing with Dead Zone, really.
Yeah, they do share a very close niche. Not entirely similar. I mean, if it was a more space hulky tile-based game, it would be different from Dead Zone enough in that respect. But I think, well, I know we're going to see Warpath before then. And it'll probably go to Kickstarter because, well, just because it's easier to get stuff out there.
And then Lonnie will be diving into your wallet again.
Yeah, well, I have a Forge Father and a Marauder army back from when Warpath originally launched. Although I've never done it, they've both stayed pretty much in their boxes. With the last Dead Zone Kickstarter, I picked up a load of the Forge Father and Enforcer plastics. So I have 15 of the Peacekeepers and 20 of the regular Enforcers, and then 3 sets of the Forge Fathers and Housecarl armor, or Housecarl armor. So it's like 18 of those, which are all handy because they'll all add into my Warpath armies when Warpath launches. And I've downloaded the second edition, the beta rules from Beasts of War, that went up a few weeks ago, and that's for the Beasts of War backstagers to play test. And then we're going to give feedback on that, and then there's a second launch of beta rules that's going to come out from Mantic itself, which will have those rules plus some other things that didn't go out to Beasts of War, so like another layer of rules on top. So essentially filtering out, get the basics done, and then send it out and go, right, well, here's some new bits and pieces for it, and then get the feedback on that and build from there. But at the moment, it plays almost like a cross between Bolt Action and Dead Zone.
Interesting.
Is the best way I can find to term it. And I suppose it's got Alessio's writing it, and then Dead Zone's doing quite well, and Jake's sort of ideas are there as well. So it's a little bit more complicated than that, but it's unit about. So you move a unit, then I move a unit. So you don't quite have the random dice from a bag that you do in Bolt Action, but you've got that, and then you have various Dead Zoneisms where you might go for suppressing fire rather than actually going to kill. So you're firing at the unit to get their heads down rather than actually to kill them. I haven't had a chance to go through it all yet and play test it. Might get that in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, because I'm curious to see where it goes and how it goes. The first Warpath rule set was, I think, too much like a sci-fi Kings of War, and it didn't work. And then they tweaked it, and it became overly complicated. This has the simplicity to make it scalable, but without it just being another carbon copy of 40k. Say, that has enough variation and differences of its own.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think the gaming community as a whole really needs another 40k.
No, very much so. But I've got QCon, which is a Belfast convention next week, and then the week after that I'm away to the Beasts of War Infinity boot camp.
Oh, get you.
Yeah. So it means it's 2 weeks where I'm not actually getting any gaming done, because I'll be doing other different gaming. But hopefully after that I'll get the chance to probably be Forge Fathers against Enforcers, since I have most of those built. And we'll give the Warpath rules a bit of a whirl and see how it pans out.
Have you been to any other of those boot camps?
No, this was the sort of the first one that caught my eye. Bolt Action I play a lot of, so I didn't need to go to that. And I know some people go across just for the sort of the break, the holiday. There are people going, well, I'm going to go across and bring my army with me. I'm thinking, the whole point is to get new people involved. Why are you going there with your fully painted army and you're just going to kick everybody because you know the rules inside out? People who are doing that, they kind of baffle me. So and I've seen some people complaining that X, Y, and Z, like, oh, these armies are terrible. I wouldn't go there because of this. I'll have to wait to the next one. I'm thinking, well, I am going because I want to play Infinity. I want to see what it's like. I'm curious about it. I know nothing about the game. I don't know anything about the faction. I don't care which faction I pick. So,
well, go on, sir.
It's just one of those things. It's the first one that's cropped up that has appealed to me to go to, and also that I don't already play. I mean, I know they're talking about a Flames of War one as well. I play Flames of War. I have a massive Flames of War army, so I won't be going to that because I don't really see the point in going and taking a space away, because it is first come first served, taking a space from somebody else who wants to go and genuinely hasn't played before and wants to learn it. It's just that's just me.
That's fair enough. I mean, you know, that is what they're intended for. I mean, what on earth got you started on Infinity though?
Just the models. I'm a big fan of really pretty models. I have so many really pretty models that I will never. They're not for any games. I just like the look of them. I have pretty much a full collection of the Knight model Star Wars 30 mils.
Knight models.
They do DC and Marvel stuff now.
That'll be the ones I'm thinking of then.
They had the Star Wars license up until, we didn't know at the time, but it was about a month before George decided to sell to Disney, and he must have been pulling all the licenses back in-house, and all of a sudden they lost the license, which is a criminal thing, because these models were fucking gorgeous. They did 70 mils and 30 mils. So I have a small amount of the 70 mils, but I have most of the 30s. Discworld, I have a ton of Discworld models from Micro Arts.
They're still going, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm a huge Pratchett fan, so I got a ton of those. And then it's more or less just a case of, oh, I like that, I'm having that. So Hassle-Free Miniatures, he has a Femme Fatale set that obviously they're not licensed, so they can't go by the names, but it has Willow, Buffy, Selene from Underworld. Miniatures, and they're gorgeous little 28 mil. And I have Victoria Lamb, she's Golden Demon winner from Australia. She has sculpted her own Spanish Inquisition from Monty Python, so I have those just because Monty Python. I threw money at the Kickstarter for Medieval Mayhem, which is going to be Monty Python the Holy Grail miniatures. So I'm going to have Lancelot, Bedivere, Robin, Bors. I'd say that they were stunning. I was gutted that the Kickstarter didn't go further, to be brutally honest. I thought it would have been very popular. I don't know whether it was just people didn't know about it, or there was an awful lot of people just couldn't get their head around the fact that you can produce these models and not get done for copyright, because it's not a copyright issue. It's they're inspired by, essentially. Same reason Zombicide can do exactly the same thing at the moment. They've got models of Sean Connery from In the Name of the Rose, and you've got King Arthur from Monty Python the Holy Grail, and that sort of thing. As long as you don't call them that, you can quite happily just produce that, you know, in your own style, as a pastiche or a homage to. So getting those. I'm also getting a resin Trojan bunny and the French soldiers from the castle. Go away, I shall taunt you a second time. So you've got those. They also did.
And your father smelt of elderberry.
That's the one. Mother was a hamster. They have absolutely no. If I had a Bretonnian army, I could probably have squeezed them into Bretonnian army. I don't, so I won't be. They're just there for me to go, I've got Monty Python's Holy Grail miniatures. I have Brave Sir Robin and his minstrels.
What about the Killer Rabbit, though?
There is Kickstarter exclusive Killer Rabbits. So yes, they are also going to be there. And it's just, you know, I'm a big collector, so whether or not I can use something in an actual army is secondary to whether or not I like it. And if I like it, chances are I'll throw money at it until I have it.
I like the way you do things, I have to say.
It's good to be the king, as they tell me. I should have another apple juice.
I think that is an excellent idea. I think you should. Do you still play? Do you play Necromunda?
I do on occasion. I have quite a large Redemptionist and Ratskin gang, and then I also have Cawdor and Spires, and I think in the roof loft, if I dig them out, I have Escher and I have Orlocks. The Orlocks are notable in that they're still sealed in their box, so I haven't quite got around to opening them yet.
Wow.
I will. Any day now. Any day I'll open them.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, it's a matter of like, you know, it's just a matter of getting a few things sorted, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, very much so. I mean, once I've got the Dead Zone train, I'm practically there for Necro as well.
I mean, one or two, but no, I quite like it. Keep meaning to get back into it. I was talking to you about wanting to convert up a Scally gang. I've converted up another sort of gang, but you've been to Yaklamunda or yaktribegaming.org, I think it is. And basically they put up all the rules for all fan-created rules, original rule book, I mean community edition rule books for Necromunda, Mordheim, and Gorka Morka, and there's probably even more besides. And some of the rules you can get off there. I've already like printed off heaps and heaps of it, but some of the rules you can get off there are absolutely brilliant. This is something I went into college and I printed off at home.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We went into college and printed this all off at home.
Yeah, because you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't go into college and print it off. No, sorry.
No, definitely me.
No, that'd be wrong.
No chance. No, there's some really cool stuff like pit slave gangs. There's a vampire gang.
Pit slaves are always fun.
Gene Stealer Brood, cultists.
They have Gene Stealer Cult.
There's a new Mechanicus gang out. Because for the Mechanicus miniatures. And there's also rules in here for creating your own house, which is basically like creating a gang, just a generic gang, and then you can fill in the fluff behind it. And I just wanted to yatter on about that because I think that's a wonderful resource,
I think Sergeant Tristan pinged me the link for that the other day, talking about Mordheim, actually.
Well, give it a look. I mean, it's definitely worth it. And it's just good to see, that Necromunda isn't dead, despite how much Games Workshop tried.
It's one of those things. It's Necro and Mordheim and Blood Bowl, massively popular with the fans. The problem was it was limited as to what GW could sell people. Especially Blood Bowl, once you've got the 14 races in fantasy, that's it. There's nothing after that. If you buy 14 teams, then we can't sell you anything else. You can't expand it because you can only have so many players on the pitch. And this is why they used to have the core systems and then the secondary systems that they would rotate through. Nowadays, they don't even bother with that. But the fans have kept things like Blood Bowl going with the living rule book for years, and there's so many companies doing fantasy football teams that it just shows how popular it is and probably always still will be. Gorka, I think, was a bit of a misstep. It was a great wee game because it was more or less just Necromunda but with orcs. But because they went, it's this one world that's completely cut off by storms, and therefore nobody's ever going to be on this who isn't already on it. So you're going, right, well, you've got orcs and you've got goblins and then you've got humans who dress like orcs. And then they added the Muty Raiders, which were cool because I still have some of those. But once
you seem to have all the cool miniatures.
Yeah, they're still in their blister packs as well. Don't worry. But once you got the orcs, smaller orcs, and humans who dress like orcs, there wasn't much for Gorka to do or to go to. It was very.
Because for the time they used to support support Necroman and all those other things. And they had a specialist game section on their website. Gorka Morka wasn't even included in that. They just
God no.
They just purged it. You know?
Yeah, well, sometimes you got to head it with the exterminatus, just virus bomb it from space. They didn't need it. Once they had Necro, they could have expanded Necro just to have the orc sitting there. I suppose the vehicles in Gorka were different. You didn't have that in Necromunda, and there's no reason why you can't port the vehicles across, because they both use the same system. So if you wanted to have your Genestealer cult with stretch limos, then you can do that.
Yeah, because you could customize your vehicles. You could get medical enhancements for your orcs, and you could customize their guns. And, that stuff added a heap of bookkeeping, but it was fun. Well,
if you don't have a cyborg body for your orc, then you're doing it wrong.
yeah. I the old second edition orcs that you got in the starter set.
Oh yes, the Goths with the bolt pistol and axe. Those ones.
And they were just like this.
Yeah.
I got one of those, cut off his axe, and put a power fist on there. I was like, oh yeah, super conversion. He's gonna be my boss. But the thing is, no matter how many games I played or how much I tried to get how many surgeries I put my boss in for, I could not get him to get a power claw, So I had this really cool model, but he was just a normal guy who didn't do anything particularly well.
Just sitting there gathering dust. Someday I'll lose this arm, and then you'll be sorry. In the meantime, he's getting kneecapped or getting the other hand shot off, or getting an adamantium cranium emplaced because he's been battered around the head. And all the time his power claw arm's perfectly serviceable. Why don't you just break this arm?
Oh my word. Oh my word. Oh well, we haven't had any new comments yet, so oh well. All
wandered off.
I know, right in the middle of our conversation. I mean, how rude.
Very much so. Can't trust them.
Well, personally, I take offence, but
Well, yeah. What's that?
Pardon me.
I'm still desperately trying to find these Dungeon Saga pictures.
Pardon me. Well,
but they're hiding from me. I'm finding everything else. Finding stump bikes and the Enforcer jet bikes. Can't.
Keep on searching. Keep searching.
Yeah. Oh, I will. Very much so. They can't keep hiding from me forever. Did you see the concept sketch for the Vermin mole machine?
The last concept sketches I saw were for the new dog, the Teleton, the male Teleton.
Yes.
And there was something else. And if I'm honest with you, I didn't like the new male Teleton.
See the one in the full armor? That one?
I don't know if you've seen it, but originally they designed him as he's got two huge punchy fists and he just goes on smashing stuff. But in this one he had a little gun on his wrist and a little choppy thing on his wrist, and that it looked decidedly less awesome than a Teleton with huge, great, big, smashy fists.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So
it was in amongst that. It was the same, whatever it was, same talk they were giving, where they threw up the concept sketches for the Forge Father's tank, the Vermin mole machine, and the Enforcer flyer.
Right. Well, I haven't seen the mole machine. I mean, what do you reckon? Was it good?
Oh, yeah. It reminds me.
Anyone wondering?
I don't remember if you've seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when you were a lad.
But believe it or not, I was acquainted with the Teenage Mutant. Well, not personally acquainted, but I knew
I knew what was up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
They had a tendency to dig up from, I can't remember the name of Shredder's giant eyeball thing that was underground with Krang in it, but they would occasionally use a mole machine to get up to the surface to go and annoy the turtles. Well, the tunneler is very similar to that, only instead of having just one massive drill on the front, it's a cylinder with the tracks, and then at the front it has 3 almost like grinders. In fact,
Nice.
if I do that, can I link this in some clever way? Will it let me? Or will you tell me no? Oh, it will. Excellent.
Oh. Ooh.
So,
Let's have a look.
if you click on that and scroll down to the May 25th entry, it will show off some of the new stuff for Infestation, including the concept sketches for the Vermin Tunneler, the Forge Father's tank, which just screams Thundercats to me, but that's me. And annoyingly, the last entry in there is the Teraton you don't like, but don't look at the last picture.
Yeah, I'll save myself the upset. But oh yeah, I see the tunneler now. See, the thing is, that tunneler, it looks cool, but how does that work on the tabletop?
I have no
Because
idea.
surely you're not going to drive that along. Surely that's something that, like, effectively deep strikes, and then it's like, oh, it's popped up here.
Who knows?
So
To be brutally honest, I would quite happily just ram into people with that. Tank shock all day long. What's that? You have a squad in front of me, you say? Fire up the drill bits. Just charge.
yeah, someone needs to convert a figure of Arnie, like from Total Recall,
Yes.
or screaming, "Screw you!" Oh. Excuse the poor impression, but yeah, I can actually see that Forge the tank, and it is very Thundercats. Yeah. Wow. See, some of these things I see them and I think, oh, that looks great. Can't wait to see that in real thing, in as a real model. And some of them I look and I think, how's that going to translate?
If you go back up to the top of the page where you've got the Enforcer jet bike and the Enforcer dropship.
Yeah.
The dropship, there's 2 pictures of it. It's actually 2 separate versions, let's say. Not 2 separate models, but 2 separate versions. The top one is a gunship, and you can see it's got like 2 missiles or missile racks or something underneath. And then the bottom one, the landed one, has in that place, instead of having the missile racks, has a troop carrying capacity there. It's got like a little pod. Yeah, little pod with a ramp at the back. So that I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
When it finally makes it to the plastic version. I wouldn't have thought they would have went to. I'm seeing where they're going with the Enforcers, and it seems to be more because the Enforcers themselves obviously have the jump packs, and it's like they're a surgical strike force. They don't appear to have tanks. They're very much air assault, airborne, get in, do the deed, get out. So the jet bikes, the jet bike and the flyer are a nice touch.
Yeah. I hope they do make it out of hard plastic, because if they make it out of resin, then it's just not going to be worth bothering with.
I don't think they're going to be bothering with resin. I think these are going to be the first big kits after Mars Attacks, obviously, with the truck and the saucer and the Stumpy robot. I think these are going to be the first true test of their hard plastic. I do like the Stumpy robots.
Yeah, they're quite nice. I'm still having trouble figuring out how to get the plastic dome on and still have it removable, so you can,
swap the fell over.
Yeah, or whether that's even worth bothering with,
Well, I don't have. I can't remember the engineer's name. We're not there. He's a mechanic, isn't he?
Oh yeah,
Call it
I know the
Jeb,
one.
probably. But anyway, yeah, I don't have him, so I'm not too worried. It's just going to be a Martian one. But I suppose no,
Probably
no,
not
actually
worth
no.
bothering with, is it?
Well, in the grand scheme of things, you're not, because it's more or less a board game. You're not going to be throwing them around a huge amount. No reason why you just can't leave the dome balancing on top.
Yeah. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, is it really going to matter if I'm playing a game and, you know, my guy, the human guy takes it over? Is it really going to matter if he isn't in there?
Hmm.
Or, you know, two reasonable people playing a game could just say, "Oh, you appear to have taken over my giant zombie robot that I've been." Well, there you go. There you go.
Exactly.
You take that.
Now
I mean,
I am magnetizing the weapons on it, but that's a different
yeah.
matter because you get every weapon. So I want to be able to have every weapon.
Through that. I found it a bit of a bugger to magnetize, but I've done it eventually. I think you might need to use bigger magnets than you think, because I think I used 2 or 3 millimeter diameter magnets. So
Oh, I've some huge magnets. More or less, I've glued the arms on, so it's just the bottom arm I need to attach. I'm just planning on drilling those out and working out where to put the magnets, essentially.
yeah, that's a bugger. I've just noticed the time, and it's about time I got ready for work. So
All right.
it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you and to all
Likewise.
of you. Take care of yourself.